After being down 14 points with less than 9 minutes to go in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, the Indiana Pacers found a way to come back. So beyond Indiana's insane shot making down the stretch, what exactly happened? On Indiana's first possession after being down 14 points, they run a dribble handoff. Oklahoma City applied a lot of ball pressure on Indiana's ball handlers all game, so running the dribble handoffs to create some space or momentum was their best way to get inside the paint. Not only does Aaron Wiggins rotate from the weak side, Hartenstein comes and trails, and Obi Toppin gets a wide open three. Before the finals began, I was a bit worried on how Jalen Williams would fare in this matchup. Aaron Nesmith is one of the best screen navigators in the NBA, and you can see it right here, completely evaporating Hartenstein's screen, staying with Jalen, and forcing him into a tough shot. All night I was really impressed by the Indiana Pacers defense. In the first half, their transition defense was nuts, only allowing 9 points off of 19 turnovers. In the second half, Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nembhard were elite in man-to-man coverages. There were multiple times this game, it almost felt like that the Pacers were giving free blow-bys to J-Dub or Shea in order to be prepared for the bump and be able to get them off balance or pick up the ball. This possession ends up with an Isaiah Hartenstein baseline floater, a shot that he struggled with all year. Now the Pacers are out here running on offense, trying to find an advantage. A staple of Indiana's offense is early screen and rolls. This one with Halliburton and Obi Toppin leads to Hartenstein slightly moving his feet to tag the roller. Tyrese automatically realizes that, and that's enough space for Miles Turner to hit this three-pointer. Like Indiana always does, they love to pressure the ball, and Oklahoma City beautifully counters this out the timeout. The Pacers do not want to switch Halliburton onto Shea, so Halliburton decides to fight through this, and Casey gets free for a wide open layup. Throughout the night, Indiana tried to put Shea into action, but up to this point it was not successful. Shea draws a legal screen here, but I want you to notice how much Nembhard is staying on the ball in the fourth quarter. Nembhard's back to pick up Shea 94 feet down the floor. A common thing with Indiana's defense all night is, first of all, they're trying not to switch Nembhard off of Shea no matter what, and second of all, they're going to show a body to Shea in the middle of the floor. This forces Shea to either play through the help defense and try to score on a tough turnaround, or either make that skip pass to a weaker shooter. The Thunder as a whole are only shooting 33% from free all postseason, so Indiana certainly lives with this. If there was probably a time to make a joke about Indiana's black magic, this would probably be it. Playing fast and early in the offense, Nesmith gets wrapped around, and somehow they end up with a wide open three, which Obi Toppin cashes in for his fifth three-pointer of the game. Again, Indiana's picking up Shea in the backcourt. This play right here is a big story in this series. Every single time Shea gets a ball screen from a big, they're hard hedging. Can Chet Holmgren at the 5 make good decisions out the short roll and try to score out of these situations? This time Chet does, getting a swing pass to J-Dub in the corner. Indiana catches a break right here. Both Chet and J-Dub play this play pretty perfectly, and Dort gets a pretty good look from free. If you go back and look at the play, look how the Pacers are daring Chet to make that skip pass. They're completely selling out on the paint, and that's their entire plan. Force the Thunder's other players to make these tough passes and try to rotate and create a good shot. Indiana's back, playing fast in transition just like they always do. The Thunder close out pretty well against Nesmith right here, but that's the issue. Despite Indiana being a pretty bad rebounding team, in this fourth quarter the Thunder allowed way too many second chance points. Indiana's second half approach really changed when they put Halliburton off the ball to set these drag screens. Halliburton was obviously uncomfortable with the ball in his hands for most of the game, as the ball pressure from OKC really caught up to him. So again, Rick Carlisle ran through Nembhard and then ran Halliburton off the ball to create advantages. Now you have Chet running at a closeout, and Miles Turner at 7 feet hits a sidestep three-pointer. The one thing about Indiana's defense though is that descent helps so late that most of the time the ball handler will still be able to get deep in the paint. Indiana has consistently conceded high scoring games from other guards like Brunson and Mitchell in order to slow down the game and limit their playmaking. If Indiana stays in this coverage, Shea could have a high scoring series averaging upper 30s in this finals. But none of this matters unless the offense is good enough, only having a 104 offensive rating in game 1. Now Halliburton's on the ball again, and look how much pressure Dort is putting on him, making him look completely uncomfortable. Like I said earlier, Indiana's best offense came through delay or dribble handoff actions. Here Nembhard gets the ball off a Turner screen and is able to find space, and eventually Turner is able to settle in to a long mid-range shot over a smaller guard. Like I said earlier, I think the Thunder will have a hard time trying to get Aaron Nesmith off of J-Dub. Chet sets a high ball screen and Nesmith just completely recovers within seconds. Now that the Pacers are playing off of misses, they're able to set up their historic offense. Outstanding spacing by Siakam and Miles Turner gives Halliburton enough space to get this drive by. The Thunder's inability to score on ball pressure outside of Shea was really evident. Shea gets a fine look here, but he's playing off balance and out of position, and he blows the bunny. And this is enough for Mark Daniel to bench him. Again, Nembhard's on the ball here, and he's being aggressive. He doesn't create an advantage here, but still the aggression and reliable ball handling helps connect all these pieces together. On the other end, Haliburton looked much more comfortable when Lu Dort wasn't on him. Adub's a little too stiff to stick with the ball pressure and allows a blow-by, and the Thunder get lucky here with Miles Turner breaking the three-pointer. Indiana's back to hard hedging Shea on every ball screen, but this time he navigates it beautifully. While trying to stay laterally with Shea, Siakam opens his hips, which leaves a crease to split the double team, and Shea has a beautiful hanging contact finish on Nembhard. But again, even with Shea scoring there, almost everything he's getting are tough finishes at the rim or turnaround jumpers. OKC did a great job for the most part all game of keeping their bigs away from Haliburton. The second they finally got the cross match, Haliburton immediately attacks and gets into a step back three. Fortunately, he misses for the Thunder, but again, another generated good look down the stretch for this Indiana offense. If there was one thing I would worry about as a Pacers fan in Game 1, Haliburton looked awful defensively. Every time the Thunder put him in action, he looked pretty reluctant to switch and usually would be a free blow-by. On the other end, Haliburton figuring out his driving game will be a huge swing point in the series. He's very north and south with his drives, only going in straight lines for the most part, and I think that really hurts him against an aggressive defense. But again, the Thunder benching Chet and going no big shows a lack of confidence in those lineups, and right here they're able to get an extra possession and an extra point off this offensive rebound. OKC adjusted to Indiana before Indiana adjusted to OKC lineup wise, and I think that's a big point in the series. Indiana was the aggressor and the Thunder were the ones who showed their hand first. Back at it again, the Thunder try to get Tyrese Haliburton in action, this time going to a guard screen, and Haliburton just gambles and tries to get a reach, but he eventually fouls. Now, with it being a 9-point game with 2.5 minutes left, both teams go small. The Pacers go small for more shooting and speed, while the Thunder go small for more switchability. Another play where Nembhard initiates, and this time he gets Caruso and help. This forces Shea to slide down on Nesmith to provide the entry pass, and then has Shea step slow on trying to close out on Nesmith because he hesitates to prevent the drive from Obi Toppin. And Indiana wins the first battle of small ball with more speed and more shooting winning here. Now the Thunder have Shea at the top of the key and are trying to flatten out the floor with small ball. Dort comes up to set the screen so Shea can split it with the rim protector out there. This time Indiana sells out on a Shea drive because they don't have any rim protection. This was good process by Shea, but for Indiana this is exactly what you want. When you're down multiple possessions, you cannot give an easy 2-up. You live and die by the three-pointer. Now again, Tyrese Haliburton did not have the ball much down the stretch because of the ball pressure. And Indiana does something very smart. They set a high ball screen with their best shooter to get a switch on to Shea. And what Nembhard pulls off is one of the nastiest combos you'll ever see. Double cross in between step back three right in Shea's grill. And this is where Indiana's defensive strategy really paid dividends. Again, they hedge the ball screen, Pacers get the ball out of Shea's hands, and now we're forcing Lu Dort to make a lightly contested wing three. Now if we slow it down and look back, the real issue is that the Thunder are playing small ball, and the player at the dunker spot, Alex Caruso, is not getting any respect from the defense. If the Thunder have Hartenstein or Chet in the game, perhaps their spacing is a little better. In real time, off a miss, the Pacers playing fast, this felt like an obvious kill shot. But Lu Dort had one of the most impressive blocks I've seen in a while, establishing verticality, completely clean. And on the other end, Shea does what he does best, hitting that contact finish with 1:30 to go. Now it's Thunder ball, 1 possession game, 1 minute to go, one of the most important offensive possessions of the game. Now the Thunder go back to the guard-to-guard screen to try to get Tyrese Haliburton involved, but this time Nembhard does a beautiful job of getting over the screen and Haliburton kind of drops back and plays drop defense. Here's the issue, look at the spacing on the right side of the floor. Playing no bigs means the defense can cheat off the players much easier, and it actually ends up being Caruso's man getting the block on Shea. On the very next offensive possession, Andrew Nembhard goes back to a step back three, but this time without a switch, and Casey Wallace does a much better job. Now look at the paint. 4 Thunder players in position for a rebound compared to 1 for Indiana. Lack of having a big who covers up a lot of ground really hurts them here, with the fact that Indiana got a perfect miss. This play made no sense in real time. Shea dribbles out the clock, which makes perfect sense, but I don't understand what he does from there. He has enough space to get some mid-range shot off at the top of the key, but he completely hesitates and now resets the offense. Possession ends up with an ugly Jada miss, but it's really on Shea. As the best offensive player, you have to apply some sort of pressure on the defense. Instead, he picks up his dribble early and ends up with this possession. Now the Thunder retain ball and Shea has a chance to redeem himself, because he gets the ball in an attempt to isolate Shea. You can already see Nesmith helping out at the middle, which forces Shea to go left. I think this shot is the best argument of when Shea missed the read. He has J-Dub right here on the wing as Nesmith keeps cheating over and cheating over. Shea gets a pretty decent mid-range shot off, but not getting any points on those final 2 possessions is pretty disappointing. And Indiana wins that possession again by forcing the other team's star to make that extra pass, which they did not. And what happens next is pretty self-explanatory. Tyrese Halliburton is just the most clutch player in NBA history. One reason why I think Halliburton gets so many good shots off compared to other stars is because he's such a threat as a passer. Usually teams can double team stars later in the shot clock because they know they're going to shoot. They're so scared to help against Halliburton because he's going to make that pass, so you can always get a one-on-one look down the stretch. The shot just captured the excellence and perfection of this Pacers comeback. If you enjoyed this breakdown of Thunder vs Pacers, please subscribe and like. I'll be posting basketball content all offseason and all finals. All you guys for listening, and thank you.